My name is Dr. Emden, and we're here with Juan Cristales. And Juan has just been doing residential real estate out here in the Willis area for some time. He's definitely a mentor that I had, I met back about 3.5 years ago. So today we're just going to go ahead and ask Juan some questions and really just dig into this information.
Man, it's crazy that it's been 3.5 years already, dude. It's pretty insane to think, but yeah, lots has happened.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Cool, Juan. So how long have you been in the real estate game, and what's your history?
Man, I'll cut to the chase on this thing, man. I went all into this real estate investing thing probably in 2013. I bought a couple of rental properties. I mean, I was real committed to making this thing work. I even cashed out a 401k because I wanted to go buy some rentals, you know what I mean? And that was in 2013, and then in 2015-16 time period, I went all in. I stopped working full time, and I just went into real estate investing full time. And I think in the last 4 years since then, we've done about 120 houses, dude.
Very nice.
A lot.
Yeah,
it's a lot of work.
It is. Yeah. All right, so this is really for a lot of dentists and other entrepreneurs as well. What are ways that you recommend them getting into the real estate space?
Not that I want to assume anything, but I think that when people go into your line of work or your profession, I mean, there's a lot of time, energy, and effort spent to get to that point, and it's not something that you're looking to get out of and go into real estate investing. So I kind of see it as maybe real estate investing is kind of like a side gig that some of the people in your space are going to be interested in doing. And so what we do oftentimes is we offer a strong rate of return on a loan on a property. So we just take someone's money that they want to lend on a property, and we give them a solid return on it. It's a fixed rate, and it's an interest-only loan, so that at the end of the loan, which is like 6 or 7 months, sometimes we'll do 12-month loans. They get the full capital, but they've only received interest payments during the time that we borrowed the money.
All right. And so, now that we're in this specific economic season, we know this is a very different time in history. What are your plans as far as investing this next season?
Man, I'll tell you that we were just talking about this, and the real estate investing or real estate period in Texas has not been affected by the economic situation that we're in. If the COVID has not stopped this real estate market in Texas, I don't know what will. It's really been awkward, man, because I think everyone thought there was going to be the opposite. A lot of people thought that maybe there was going to be a lot of foreclosures and a lot of issues and people just walking away from their homes. And essentially what's happened is that there's a ton of buyers. This morning I was looking at the data. There's only like 2.7 months of inventory, which is extremely low for a healthy market. And so basically, we're watching properties just fly off the shelf real quickly. People are, paying above asking price just to get a property. Interest rates continue to be extremely low. And I think that a lot of people are jumping on that opportunity if they're able to purchase a property, because as interest rates continue to stay low, no one knows how long they're going to stay at that rate, and I think people want to benefit from that.
Absolutely. Okay, so what are some of the creative ways of financing some of the deals?
So, we're limited to how many houses we can do based off how much money we have in the bank. So at some point, there's no more that you can do, and it just becomes problematic. And so what we do is, we reach out to people who have money saved up, whether it's in a retirement account or just personal savings or whatnot. And, we ask them if they want to lend on properties. And so in that scenario, the person that is fronting the money basically for the purchase, the acquisition, and the rehab or the remodeling of the property, they get a set interest rate for that money. And they're going to be in first lien position, and simply all that means is that there's nothing else fishy on the property, no back taxes, no child support stuff, no IRS liens, nothing else that's going to be on the property, so the person's money is protected. And then the other thing that we do is we don't exceed more than 70 or 75% of the value of the house once it's fixed up. That way, if things go sideways, we have about 30 to 25% of margin of error in case we make a mistake, or we try to stay conservative with our numbers. That's one of the creative ways that people can get into real estate investing without having the pressure of going to Home Depot and making phone calls and dealing with contractors and stuff like that.
Okay. Cool. And then as far as, and I really want to get into this one, the methods of acquiring the property. What are certain ways or certain things that you do in regards to that?
Man, one of the ones that I have become much better at over time is, building strong relationships with people. This is gonna sound kind of funny, man, but we talked about this in the classes. Building relationships, going into a relationship knowing that it's gonna be a long-term relationship from the get-go. And so what I had done is essentially I would teach real estate agents that wanted to learn at title companies. I would provide lunch and just tell them, like, look, this is what investors are looking for. This is the type of property we're looking for. This is how the numbers work. This is why we make those offers. And this is how it all comes together and why it makes sense the way we do it. And so in doing that, what's happening is that, one, I'm providing as much value as I can to people. And then whenever they have a property, they bring it to me. It's like, hey, man, this looks like a good candidate based on what we did. And it's one to many, one to as many as I can get into a place. That's one method. Another method, and that takes time, obviously. Another method is to spend money. And in spending money, we were averaging about $3,300 in marketing to be able to buy and sell one house. So it's pretty expensive. So regardless of the method, whether you want to use direct mail, postcards, whether you want to do cold calling and hire someone, a VA, to do that for you, you want to do search engine optimization and pay-per-clicks type stuff. It's all just kind of on average, whatever method, it's averaging about $3,300 per month to be able to acquire one deal. So those are some of the different things that that are available.
Okay. And then just like when anything is good, there's also the other side. What are some of the hiccups that you now see in real estate investing?
So last time we were talking about when people are analyzing properties, they fail to take into consideration the cost of holding the property. So during the time period that you own it, you got to pay taxes, you got to pay insurance, you got to pay maintenance, you got to pay HOA, you got to pay utilities, you got to cut the grass, all those things. People fail to really input that as an expense. They also fail to put their profit in there as an expense. Like, I need that money to be protected. Whatever that percentage is, whatever that amount of money, I need to protect that so that whenever the house sells, I know that's an expense I got to pay to myself or pay to the company. Those are like a couple of the things that people don't immediately look at. And then on the other side of it, I think sometimes people get a little too eager to jump into a fix and flip because they've watched a lot of hours of HGTV and they just have all these great ideas. So one of the things that I tell people all the time is that fixing and flipping houses is a little bit more advanced, man. It's you have to have a good solid team of people that you can rely on that have integrity, man, to tell you, like, hey, you're making a mistake, or this is going to be a costly thing, because sometimes people just don't know.
Okay. All right. So appreciate that. As far as, let's say, the normal progression that you see real estate investors go through, what is it in your experience?
Yeah, man. So this is something I'm actually experiencing myself, man. I mean, you start off with like buying a rental here and there, something like that. You try to get into more advanced real estate investing, which can include fixing and flipping properties, new construction, and then you experience that and you realize it's a lot of work, and then you end up being a lender. And some people started at lending, but that is probably the top tier of real estate investing, because you're really if you're a lender, you're lending money, so your capital or your principal is not really at risk, and you're requiring the borrower to pay you interest. And that's kind of an easy game, you know what I mean? And so there's no immediate responsibility or friction or stress level, you know what I mean? So when like a contractor calls me and says, hey, we have an issue with the septic tank and we got to replace the whole septic tank and that's going to be another $7,500, like I'm the one that's stressed out because I have to go back to the numbers and figure out where I can adjust something to try to make the numbers work again. And so, the natural progression, honestly, I think is eventually to end up being a lender, which is kind of what we want to be, long term, because it's a little bit hands off and less stress, really. Yeah.
All right, Juan. So really, we do appreciate you, answering our questions here. What are are you looking for capital, from us in this next season?
Yeah, man. Definitely, we are looking for more capital. I'm telling you, man, that the Texas real estate is just really strong right now, and essentially, acquiring single family. We talk about like the cost to build new, and it's very difficult to build new construction with the purchase of the land and stay under $150,000 and make money. So that's just, it's the cost of labor, the cost of material, the cost of acquiring land is just so expensive now. The cost of adding utilities, it's not realistic. So that means is that the values of properties just continue to just creep up and creep up. And so we're getting to a point where the median price range of houses continues to just creep up. And in the past like 4 or 5 years, it's crept up about 20%, probably even more, man. And so we're trying to acquire as much property as we can, really, and then focus on maybe like small apartments and things like that, because I think that everything's just continuing to grow, and rents are not going down. Rents are actually going up, and there's a market. There's a large market for rentals. And I'll just jump in here real quick, man, with some of the stuff that's going on with COVID, but we've been seeing high demand for rentals as well, man. And I'm not sure exactly, this is just my personal theory here, but I think that people that might be having a problem with their mortgage or something like that, and they're getting the forbearance, they're beginning to realize that forbearance does not mean forgiveness. That means that, like, if you got 3 months of forbearance or something like that, at the end of those 3 months, you owe 3 months of mortgage payments. And sometimes people don't have that money. And before their credit gets hit or they start experiencing all those problems, they're looking for a rental to move into, and they're just gonna figure out something else with the house. So, like, even rentals, we have one right now that we just put on the market for $2,600 that I was kind of skeptical about, and they probably are gonna be moving in at the beginning of next month. Yeah.
Okay. Well, man, Juan, we appreciate it as always.
Yeah, man.
Look forward to working with you for sure.
I enjoy it, man.
So, thanks.
Thanks so much.